Hey there, crafters. Welcome to episode 80, a bite-sized episode of the Craft Stash podcast. I'm your host, Kim. Hey friends, so welcome to Sunday. Today I believe is the 10th of June. We are so knee-deep in this month, it's amazing. I'm here recording outside in New York City in the lawn of the Cloisters Museum. If we have some time, I might take you guys inside for a short tour of the grounds and the beautiful gardens that they have inside. I'm also trying a new format. I'm recording from my iPad mini, which is my new baby. If my iPhone is my boyfriend, the iPad is my baby. And I'm really excited to be out and about and recording in public. So as usual, when I record in public, I might get clammy and weird. So forgive any weirder than usual banter or things that don't make sense. But let's just launch into what I'm crafting because these are meant to be shorter episodes. So with me, I brought a couple of things. I'm still working on what I was calling my hug, my humble utilitarian garment, which is turning really into a shrug or a cowl. This is a basic, just a tube that I'm knitting that I kind of cast on a bunch of stitches and started increasing. And I'm realizing that I ended up making a sweater. I've been working on it for so long that it's got so many stitches in it. We've got visitors. That really, if I really wanted it to, this could totally fit me as a tube top. Or some other kind of garment, which is great because it's meant to fit over my shoulders when I get cold. And I did put it on longer needles earlier and stretch it, and it does totally stretch to fit my shoulders. So I am kind of knitting a sleeveless sweater, and it's going really well. I'm using Claudia hand-painted yarn for this. This is her fingering base, and I'm using 4 different colors, so you can already see the 3 different skeins that I've used. This greenish color, this purplish color, and this teal aqua-ish color. So not much to say about it. I can't remember how many stitches I cast on. Maybe I cast on about 180 to 220 stitches, somewhere in that range. And I just kind of started increasing after every inch. So yeah, it's going really well. Hope to finish it soon so that I can wear it to some of the retreats that I'm going to this summer. And I'm working it on size 3s. And I've got it in a crappy bag that I'm not going to show you because it's not really a project bag. I'm going to a couple of retreats this summer, and the one thing that I'm going to let myself buy as much as I want is project bags, because I realize, if you guys see the project bags that I have, this is a neighborhood fibers bag that I've spilled wine all over. This is a project bag that I made myself, that I'm using yarn as the ties for. This is another project bag that I didn't even do a lining for, that I'm using a crappy ribbon. This is a jewelry bag that someone made jewelry and gave to me. So I don't tend to spend money on project bags because I can sew them and make them myself. But the thing is, I just never get around to it. So maybe that'll change in the future. Maybe it won't. But yeah, what else am I crafting? So I had wanted some easy knitting after my sweater project. And, this cowl thing that I've been working on is definitely easy, but I'm starting to want a bit of a challenge again. So I went ahead and picked up one of my older UFOs, which is the Everyday Linen Pullover, I think, by the Pearl Bee blog. It's a free sweater pattern written by the makers of, or the owners of the Pearl Soho store. I started this a long time ago last year. I had been working on this last, I remember, in October when I went to Cancun, and kind of just didn't pick it up ever since. It's a sweater that I'm making out of sock yarn. So, the challenge there is there's a lot of stitches on tiny needles and it seems to go on forever. But I figured now that I'm officially a sweater knitter, I'm sorry, I'm not really looking at you because the camera hole's right there. So I'll remember to look there instead of in the middle. So now that I feel like I'm a better sweater knitter, I'm working on my sweater again. So this is what it's looking like. The sweater is worked, you do the 2 sleeves first, and then you do the bottom of the sweater and work up, and the bottom of the sweater has a kind of a tail, like a dipped tail at the back. So that's done in short rows. So that I've already done, and I'm kind of working on the body now where I kind of just work up the torso. And as I find that this is probably going to be my signature move, I've added a moss stitch panel to kind of camouflage the shaping, and also to kind of add a little bit of stretchiness and a little bit of, it pulls in the sweater a little bit and makes it look a little bit more fitted. So I've done that again. So I'm just going to keep on doing that, and it's working pretty well. So the reasons that I put this down, it is a sock yarn sweater made out of really amazing sock yarn from hedgehog fibers. I don't have the tag on me, so I can't tell you what it's made of, but it was some yarn that I picked up at a local yarn shop in New York City, and it's in an exclusive colorway by Stephen West. And I bought 4 balls of it, so I'm working my way through, and it's being done on size 3 chiagus, so it's going to take me some time, but there's no reason for me not to work on it. So it's going pretty well. You can't really see very much of it because I've got it on the tiny needles that don't let it stretch out, but believe you me, it fits my crazy curves, and I'm really excited about it, so yay. So that's another thing that I'm working on. When I started this, I was not really excited about it because you have to start the sweater working from the bottom up, and then you do shaping, and then you attach the sleeves. I tend to like making sweaters working from the top down because you can kind of keep fitting it and trying it on. It's a little bit more difficult that way, but I'll figure it out. So those are the 2 big things that I'm crafting. The other things that I'm crafting are all part of our Summer of Stash. And one of them is a stash acquisition, so I'll figure out how I'm going to talk to you in a second. I am doing both the Summer of Stash along with Kate of Gourmet Stash. Next week we have an exciting announcement to share with you, but until then, I just wanted to show you this big old cone of fiber. It's amazing. I'm so excited. So I bought this stash from Spun Right Round on Etsy at the beginning of the year. I had asked her to make this lovely colorway for me. It's a custom colorway. I forgot what she called it. It's either Girls Night Out or At Night or something like that. But it's all of my favorite colors. It's the purple, the teal, the gray, the lime green. And I had 4-ounce braids of this made, and I kind of hadn't touched it in a very long time, so I decided that this will be my big Summer of Stash that I really want to plow through and spin all of this. So last night I finished 6-ounce, well, I didn't do it all last night, but since our Summer of Stash started last week, I spun 6 ounces. Every single night, came home, spun. This is being done on my Hanson mini spinner, this is the Woolly Winder bobbin for it. So this is 8 ounces of fiber. This is 2 braids, and it's spinning up very, very nicely. It's going to probably be a DK weight yarn because I'm going to try and chain ply it on itself. And I figured I'd bring out the bobbin to show you guys. It's been resting overnight, so I'm going to go home and try and ply it. I have to send a special thank you to Diane of Knittables for sharing her information with me. She has a Hanson mini spinner too, and she has a portable battery, which I actually am using for the podcast right now. I'll show it to you. If any of you guys have any electronics, anything that uses power that you want to kind of take outside with you, this battery is amazing. It's the Anchor, I think it's Anchor Astro, but this is a little portable battery that you can take with you and charge things on the go. So this is how I'm going to be taking my my podcasting on the road, and this is also how I'm going to be taking my spinning on the road. So thank you so much, Diane, for sharing that information with me. If anybody else needs the information, I'm happy to send you the exact specs of it. So that's kind of what I've been crafting. Let's talk about what I'm stashing. So I'm stashing very little this week, and I've been a very good girl because I've got retreats coming up and I got bills to pay. So I am just stashing this lovely thing. I went to, expectedly and kind of unexpectedly, I had dinner with some really amazing crafters. Yesterday I had dinner with Carita Collins of Neighborhood Fibers, based in Maryland, and I also had dinner with Ann Weaver, who's also based out of Maryland. Both of them were in town teaching classes at Nitty City and the Yarn Company. And Carita and I met at Maryland Sheep and Wool, thanks to Kate of Gourmet Stash. That's also how I met Anne. And Carita sent me an email in Ravelry and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in town. Do you want to get dinner?" And I said, "Of course." and we met up for dinner. But before that, I stopped into one of my local yarn shops, which is the Yarn Company, and Weaver was there. So that was kind of random, but it was fun. I went to the Yarn Company to pick up this lovely, lovely drop spindle. You guys know that I've been messing around a little bit more with drop spindles lately, thanks to my trip to Maryland Sheep and Wool, where I bought a small Golding spindle and kind of discovered that maybe it wasn't me that was sucking at drop spindling, it's maybe the drop spindles that I had weren't best for what I wanted to do. So I knew that Yarn Company had acquired these spindles, and I will tell you the name later on in another show because I did not bring the tag with me. I'm going to be a little bit racist and be like, it was a Jewish person's name, I think Avi Wasserman. That could be totally wrong. That's the Jewish name that just popped into my head, so I'm so sorry if that's not who made these spindles, but they're lovely, lovely. Exclusive to the Yarn Company in New York City. This is maple, ebony, and turquoise spindle, and it spins very wonderfully. The fabric, I always say fabric when I mean to say fiber. The fiber that I'm working it on is a fibery tribble from Gourmet Stash. You guys saw this last week in my stash acquisition. So this is it for this week in terms of stash acquisition. It's going very nicely. I don't know if you guys can tell, because the iPod camera is not the greatest, but it's pretty decent. I'm trying to do a ply on the fly technique where you spin a single for a little while and then you go back and you do a chain ply. So I'm doing that because I volunteered to teach a couple of breakout sessions at SSK and the Zombie Knit Apocalypse. At Zombie Knit Apocalypse, I think I'm doing just a basic learn to drop spindle breakout session. So I want to just kind of be drop spindling. Sorry, there are planes flying overhead and picnickers, so it's getting a little loud. So I'm going to just do a basic drop spindling breakout session at the Zombie Knit Apocalypse, and since I mostly have been support spindling and wheel spinning, I really want to practice my drop spindling before I have to get in front of a bunch of people and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. And then at SSK, I think I signed up to do a breakout on ply on the fly, which is learning how to do a chain ply on your drop spindle as you're working, so that when you're finished spinning your fiber, you're finished with everything. So yeah, that's me kind of doing my homework to show others how to do things. So that's all that I'm stashing. So instead of Periphery this week, that'll come back next week. FYI, next week I'm recording with Kate of Gourmet Stash in our monthly Crafty Gourmet co-hosted podcast, so stick around for that next week. But for today, I figured I'd take you guys on a field trip to my neighborhood. I've been making so many plans with people because summer in New York City is a season of way too many things to do and too many people to see. And I keep meaning to go out to the outer boroughs and hanging out with people, but I just keep forgetting how awesome my neighborhood is. I think this is the summer where I really fall in love with my neighborhood all over again. We traditionally live in the outskirts of Manhattan because it's so expensive, and we don't live in cool neighborhoods because we would rather spend our money elsewhere, like on yarn. Or on studio space for Greg. So we live, in a neighborhood that wasn't really cool for a very long time, but our neighborhood's getting cooler and cooler, and I just wanted to take you guys on a field trip to the Cloisters in Fort Tryon Park. So let's take a couple of pictures, and I'll see you in a sec. So thank you guys so much for spending a little bit of time with me this Sunday. I'm going to spend the rest of the day hanging out and finishing up some of my knitting and getting better on my drop spindle. Next week I'll be back for a longer episode with my friend Kate. Until then, if you can't craft it, stash it. You know where to find us. We're on Ravelry in the Craft Stash group. My name is My name is K-Star if you're looking for me on Ravelry. Elsewhere, I'm known as Crayola on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm also known as K-Star on Ravelry. So hopefully we'll see you around, and until then, if you can't craft it, stash it. Cheers!